Hi, I'm Imtiaz Popat, and welcome to Access Community Television.
And I'm Molly Caron. On this episode of Access TV, we are going to try and find balance in this world that is populated with positivity and negativity. We will navigate you through with stories.
And Sherry Dougal is back with Dr. Bourgie in her first segment on health and healing.
Dr. Bourgie is a pediatrician, and he meditates, and he talks about how sound affects us. I'm looking forward to that. We're also going to hear from Stephen Lytton, a new contributor here at Access Television, in conversation with Terry Hunter of Vancouver Moving Theatre. They're going to be explaining how community and theatre come together.
And Gunargie O'Sullivan and Gary Olver are going to be talking with Chief Bill Wilson about this long federal election, how it targets Indigenous people.
And Imtiaz will bring in some friends. He's got the team from the Ismaili Walk for Mental Health that's taking place, and all the community members that have collaborated to make that happen.
And we've got a piece on the Our Place Drug Users Resource Center.
As we get to the truth of what matters here on Access TV.
If you wonder if you have too much detergent, you can do a simple test at home. Please stay tuned to learn how.
Now here's a report from Snapshot Media about Our Place Drug Resource Center.
Yes, this is a peer-run community group, and it's participant-driven. And they've put together a little documentary that brings us the voices of the people and the stories from the downtown east side. Let's take a look.
The Drug Users Resource Center is an active peer-run community center in Vancouver's downtown east side that provides warmth to those living in the shadows. It is a rich and vibrant community full of incredible stories. This is a documentary about the center created by members of the center.
It opened in 2003, and the idea behind the center was that it would be a sort of one-stop shop for the drug users and folks facing homelessness, mental health issues, or who otherwise feeling marginalized in the community. The Drug Users Resource Center has 9,000 members, wow, just slightly over, and membership is growing every year. And there are no barriers to membership. All you have to do is show up, say you want a membership to the center, and then you register, and we give you the schedule and hook you up with the programming that you want.
That's great. You're just part of a big family. I feel that.
When I first moved to Vancouver, I had absolutely nothing. My woman and I had just our backpacks. We were coming over from Nanaimo. We got over, and we roamed around the streets for like 4 or 5 days, and we finally found Life Skills, or the DORC. And from there, it progressed from just hanging out to helping out with in the kitchen, helping out cleaning up, and it just really gave us self-respect, a sense of community, because we were lost without it, and then we found the place, and we have a place where we feel safe and we're comfortable. So this place it's a lifeline, definitely.
I love walking through the doors here because I know I'm going to see so many friendly faces, and it's always thriving. It's always a very live space. It's a place of membership and citizenship, a place to get a meal, a coffee, a haircut, and all sorts of therapeutic interventions. But really what we're doing here is creating a place where people can come in and get involved and get busy in their community in a positive way.
I used to live in the park, Oppenheimer Park, in a tent, and I remembered Life Skills Center. People coming in and out of here, and I think I was at my wit's end. I needed help. I said, put me to work. You don't need to pay me, just get me to do something, I'll do anything.
This is a place to hang out with people, not on the street, and doing good things, like going and learning and being a part of groups and getting involved and doing right by others in their community, whether they're handing out fresh fruit on Fridays or helping cook or doing a hydration team, going around making sure people are getting juice on hot days and hot chocolate on others. People love it, and they talk about it, and they say, I have a job. on Tuesdays at the Life Skills Center, which is our old name, and everyone calls us that. We're the Drug Users Resource Center, but everyone calls us our old name. But people are like, I got my job on Tuesday, and it means a lot. And you know, I think it's important for people to feel like their job is full of purpose, and people feel that when they come here and they work.
Like the peers take care of so much. It's what keeps this place alive. Here we do it, and we know how to do it. You know, we need the staff that are here, that are hired here. They're there to support what we want to do.
It teaches you on the way, right? It teaches you every day. It teaches you how to deal with different circumstances. And these people have been there around the block once or twice, right? And they know what's going on. So that's why they can feel for people, right? They can understand how people are feeling and why they're going through that kind of shit that they're going through, right? You know, and so that's why every day is so different. And you know, one day they can be happy, and one next day they can be just raging mad. You're walking here drunk, or the cops are coming in, or somebody's running around. You know, you never know. It's a fun place to work. I really enjoy it.
The Drug Users Resource Center sees an average of between 800 and 1,500 people a day. And anyone that comes to the center on a day-to-day basis knows that, as I'm fond of saying, people are swinging off the rafters in here most of the time. But it's a really good energy, it's a vibrant and alive energy, and it's an energy that people want to be a part of. We do everything from brew our own alcohol for the Street and Trench Managed Alcohol Program. We have a JIB users group where we make our own pipes. We have a clinic on site. We have a HEP and healthy cooking group. We have a walking group. We have a Juno award-winning artist that does music groups.
We started off as a poetry writing class, and that way it'd be therapeutic for people to write down their feelings and things like that. And then it gravitated into music, and then now it's music therapy.
Like, the music group has affected my life pretty dramatically because there's so many positive people in the group and they're so focused. And at the time when I walked in, I couldn't even walk in their shadow. So, you know, I was so embarrassed of who I was and where my music was going. It was such a negative aspect of my life, where the negativity from the drug and alcohol use was coming out of the music.
Father, help your children. Don't let them stand at the side of the road. It's just to see, I guess, the shock of someone who's never recorded before, and to see them looking at their work that they've done. It's sort of like a painter and a blank piece of canvas, and then all of a sudden he has a beautiful picture on it, right? So that's basically the same thing you're seeing with this class, someone who hasn't heard themselves recorded or, you know, been in a musical situation and then seen it for the first time. But there's also a lot of healing that happens after someone has, I've seen people come to the class that, you know, were very shy and, you know, weren't very musical at all, and now turned into just musical monsters. You know? Hallelujah,
I don't know the rest of the words.
That's a nice song.
I am collecting raspberries. They're in abundance right now. The other day I was on the golden ones, and it's been years since I seen them, and next thing you know, I'm eating 3, putting 1 in the bucket. Eating 3, putting 1 in the bucket. And I was saying that going along, and my friend was just laughing. She goes, "Wonder why you didn't get many buckets done."
I find gardening very therapeutic, so I find it like relaxing and comforting, and it slows my thoughts down and I can just focus on one thing, and I think that for the community it offers that same opportunity. We try and create a spectrum of opportunity for people to get involved in the garden, so people can come in and relax, or they can get involved in the soil and learn how to plant and grow and harvest food all the way from seed to market.
Working here makes me feel so happy.
Feels so good, makes your soul feel good. Especially helping the community, right? One of the best feelings. helping your fellow man.
Or folks can get involved with the bees, and with the bees you can either like be right in there, like managing the bees and lifting them out and touching the bees, or you can stand a little bit further away and observe, or you can stand a little further away and help us with preparing our equipment for the bees. So we build employment here, training as well as employment, to help us build all the resources we need to make the programming happen.
I was really actually apprehensive in coming in, but then when I learned a little bit more about the bees, I said, oh, you know, I'll go in. You know, it's sort of looking in where the bees were, but no, I didn't get stung at all, so I felt safe about coming in.
It's already sanitized, right? Yeah. And then we just top it up at 43 liters after we rinse out the bag.
Yeah. So we came up with an idea to help our brothers manage their alcohol and try to switch them away from drinking illicit alcohol.
They're not going out, they're not buying the Listerine, they're not buying the Rebby, stealing the Rebby, they're not doing whatever they have to, right? Now they're coming in and they're actually putting money into the kitty so they can get their alcohol out, and they're actually enjoying it, like making a conscious choice to slow their alcohol consumption. We're starting to open doors, we're starting to take a different approach to it.
I think it's one of a kind. This program is pivotal in bringing people together that feel like they have nowhere to be. I don't know of any other program that really supports the very bottom rung of drinkers, you know? The people who, you know, they can't, one way or another, choose not to drink regular alcohol, right? So this helps them by acknowledging that there are other people out there, there are other people that recognize their situation and people that care.
I think that the #1 benefit of being a member at the Drug Users Resource Center is being a part of one of the most incredible communities I've ever witnessed in my entire life. The people here are smart, compassionate, engaged, loving, friendly, funny, and just really remarkable. And if you come here, you know you'll be accepted in whatever form you come.
If it wasn't for the center, there'd be so many people that would be still in the closet and hiding in their hotel room because they wouldn't have this place to come to. And they serve meals here and at nighttime. And besides all that, during the daytime, it turns into a women's shelter at nighttime. And they serve a meal every night at 7:30, which is awesome meals. So this for a little building like this, it helps hundreds of people a day.
I think it's a positive environment for anybody who wants to, you know, stay safe. It's a safe place to chill, and there's so many opportunities to get help in whatever it is that you need help with. Feel somewhat liberated because there's people around me that understand me, and nobody looks down on me for coming here.
It's a welcoming place to be, right? Like you come here and you feel safe, you feel comfortable, you can talk to anyone. And you got the facilities that you normally wouldn't get elsewhere. And you know, like if I wanted to see somebody, or if I wanted somebody to help me do this or do that, fill out some forms or whatever I need, they'd help me here, right?
This community has taught me to be real. Throughout my life, things that I took for granted was thrown right into my face down here. And the people that stick together, network together, you know, just help each other is pure community.
A drug dealer is a rude person. He mostly is always horsing around. He places his ego and pride on a pedestal and haughtily exerts his strategist will on others, cruelly and arbitrarily. He jacks up the stakes to mark up his ante. He is an institutionalized criminal, vying to get something for nothing. Something is the product, nothing is the bottom line, and so is the effort. thought may be freely expressed, but an accusation may be deleterious to his name, his reputation. Reiteration of routine teachings of lessons by an expert may be useful in a particular vocation, trade, or profession. Within a time frame, manual deftness of manipulation may be noticeable after a multiplicity of doing drills.
This video is dedicated to Neil Benson and Darlene, who recently passed away.
If you want to get involved with Snapshot Media or the Drug Users Resource Center, you can find them at 412 East Cordova. So
Across from Oppenheimer Park.
Yeah, that's right. That's where their focus is. Living life to the full. That's the title of the campaign of the Canadian Mental Health Association, and they have joined forces with the Ismaili community as well as the VGH UBC Hospital Foundation to raise funds and take away the stigma, bring us all together as a community. And Imtiaz Popat is in conversation with the three of them as they discuss the upcoming Ismaili Walk on the 20th of September.
And welcome back, and this is Imtiaz Popat. And with me is Farouq Manji from the Ismaili Walk, Bev Gutray from the Canada Mental Health Association, and Barbara Grantham from the UBC and VGH Hospital Foundation. I got them mixed up. And we're here to talk about the Ismaili Walk. Now, Farouq, the Ismaili Walk, this is how many years has the Ismaili Walk has been going on?
23 years now.
23 years. And there's two big walks in the Ismaili community. Tell us, how is the Ismaili Walk different?
Sure, yeah. So the two walks, one of them is the World Partnership Walk, which runs across the country. Its mandate and objectives really are to look at global issues, global poverty, etc. Whereas the Ismaili Walk is a walk that's founded by the Ismaili community in BC alone. We're the only region that runs this walk, and it's really to help all different local organizations. Over the last 23 years, we've partnered with UW, United Way. We've partnered with Habitat for Humanity, the Vancouver Public Library. Last year it was with the YWCA, thank you very much. Yeah. And this year with the Mental Health Association and BGH and UBC Association.
Right, so this is a 2-year partnership. So the money for this year's walk and next year's walk will go to this particular project.
That's right.
So Barbara, tell us, what is VGH UBC Hospital Foundation?
Our foundation, Imtiaz, is the philanthropic partner to Vancouver Coastal Health, which is a large healthcare organization that delivers most of the health services that people who live in Vancouver, Richmond, the North Shore would see in terms of hospitals and public health care and the community health services that you see. So we raise money through philanthropy, through events like the Ismaili Walk, for a number of projects. And so we've partnered with the Canadian Mental Health Association, which provides community-based as opposed to more hospital and outpatient-focused programs. And together with the Ismaili community, we'll be raising money this year and next year for 2 particular mental health projects. In our case, it will be the new Joseph and Rosalie Siegel Family Mental Health Center, located on the campus of Vancouver General Hospital in Vancouver. And in the case of Bev, a set of programs based in the community. But that's who we are, and that's how we've come together this year.
So Bev, tell us more about these programs.
Well, it's very exciting. We've got a really good evidence-based program called Living Life to the Full. And how we're going to use the funds from the walk is we're really going to concentrate on youth and equipping youth with emotional skills, emotional knowledge that will not only serve them now, but will serve them across their lifespan. And so the way we fund that program is by individual donations, by sponsorships, and the support of the Ismaili Walk. It's a tremendous benefit to us.
Right.
And we're across BC. We're a provincial organization.
And now there's such a stigma around mental health. So how do you promote mental health, and how do we get the Ismaili and people who support the Ismaili Walk to come and support the walk for mental health?
Well, having good mental health. We all know about having good mental health. We can feel it. And we also know when our mental health begins to become compromised, when our thinking is challenged, or we just haven't got the same energy we had, and it's for extended periods of time. So I think people have become pretty aware of the symptoms. What we often don't know what to do is what can we do individually to improve our mental health. And that's where we fit in as the Canadian Mental Health Association in BC. we help British Columbians to improve their mental health.
And Farouq, so how did this partnership come about, and how did you choose this particular project for mental health?
Yeah, it's a good question. You know, every year we sit down and strategically look at within our own community what the needs are, and also outside the community. And we've seen over the last several years that mental health, especially within the community, especially a community like ours, it stays relatively insular.
Right.
So this really helped us to say, how can we bring it out within the community and outside the community, and this is why the partnership was created.
So it's an opportunity to raise funds, but also awareness about the issue of mental health.
Very much so.
And things like that, and partnering with the VGH and UBC Foundation. How are they linked?
Well, I mean, I think all of us, I mean, the statistics are pretty well documented and overwhelming. You know, one in 5 Canadians will have some sort of a personal lived experience with mental health issues or a mental illness in their lifetime. And when you think about the domino effect in that person's life in terms of their family, their friends, their colleagues, their coworkers, you'd be hard pressed in any large, you know, a room full of people to find someone whose life hasn't in some way been impacted by mental health. But relative to other diseases and health conditions, it's been very stigmatized, very closeted. And I think one of the wonderful things about this walk is it's being so fully embraced by the Ismaili community. And in turn, I think it helps all of us who work in the field of healthcare to say this is just like cancer or diabetes or a heart condition. This is a person who needs our help,
right?
Albeit in a different kind of way. And all of us benefit, all of us in society benefit by bringing that conversation out of the darkness, out of the closet, and into the light to have a healthy conversation.
Right. So September 12th, 20th, sorry, September 20th at Lumberman's Arch, starting what time?
11 a.m.
Right.
Yeah, September 20th.
And why should people come out?
Oh, it's going to be a great family day. There'll be a lot of activities. We hope that people will participate in the 5K walk, but if you don't, you just can come at Lumberman's Arch, have a great lunch. There'll be a lot of activities and fun.
Fabulous food.
Yes.
And this is an opportunity for British Columbians to support mental health, both in the community as well as building a state-of-the-art hospital. So
lots of things to be proud of.
Yes. It's rare that we have this kind of continuum in fundraising.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, all three of us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I have a tip that may save your health and save you money. If you wonder if you've been using too much detergent, you can easily check by taking 3 or 4 large bath towels out of your linen closet and putting them in your washing machine. Let it agitate without any detergent being added. After a couple of minutes, you check and see if there's any bubbles inside. On this one here, I don't see any bubbles at all. So that's great. There is no detergent residue. If you do see detergent residue, then try reducing the amount of detergent you use, just for your own health. Now this one here, we put the laundry in and we see lots of bubbles. This means there's still detergent residue in the clothes and somebody is having that absorb into their skin all day long. Now, this is too much detergent. We can see the layer of foam on top of the water, and this water looks quite cloudy as well. Never add this much detergent.
We're fortunate to have Chief Bill Wilson back to set us straight and demystify politics and cut out the BS. Here he is with Gunargie O'Sullivan and Gary Olver.
Welcome to Access TV. I'm Gunargie O'Sullivan. We have Hereditary Chief Heemas, also known as Bill Wilson, in the house, and Gary Olver. Thank you for joining us. Today, we are in the midst of a 78-day election campaign, one of the longest. First Nations people think that perhaps the participation in the federal election will only diminish our First Nations right, while Perry Bellegarde says that we as First Nations should be seeking out the candidates who have the most respect for treaties and rights entitled to the land. Today we're going to talk about Stephen Harper and how he passed the Bill C-51 and this anti-Indian campaign. Bill Wilson, how are you today?
I'm fine, thanks. I think that the people should vote. I understand, truly respect those people that say voting in a foreign government violates their Aboriginal title and treaty rights. But the reality is we're still governed by non-Indian people who will come here, and they make the laws and they elect people like Harper or other people like that. It bothers me that this campaign is so long, the heat of the summertime, kids are away on vacation. It was done deliberately to make sure that people would get bored with it and probably would vote absentee. So what you have is a situation where initially the vote is being manipulated to start with, and then now what bothers me most, what concerns me most, is the anti-terrorism, anti-ethnic, anti-Indian, anti-anything, pro-policing, more prison theme of this. And, you know, it seems that he's going to win. He's probably going to win a minority government because people actually believe the baloney that exists in regard to terrorism. You know, like as my shirt says, we've been fighting terrorism for 500 years. You know, this is nothing new. But the reality is that to base a theme of an election which should be positive, which should be growing, should be nurturing, should be encouraging people, is based on ostracizing and marginalizing people already who are in poverty, Indians and other ethnic groups, and then using terms like the Muslims and this and that, and then branding people. I mean, there are people in history that did this, and we don't have to talk about the reality that they were German. Not that there's anything wrong with Germans, but I mean, the reality is that if you scapegoat certain segments of society, what you're doing is producing hate and appealing to ignorant people. And I'm afraid that that's the theme that disgusts me with what Harper is doing. I really couldn't care less who gets elected to the white man's government, because all the political parties have always been the same. Whether they're the NDP or the Conservatives or the Socreds masquerading as liberals, they're all exactly the same when it comes to Aboriginal people.
Yeah, it's interesting that during the debate they talked about the economy, while Bill C-51 and the anti-terrorism bill is about the threat to the economy as well. So
sad thing is you know, Trudeau, who I like, you know, I'm not telling you who I'm voting for, but you know, I like Ms. May, and I don't know Mulcair at all. I've never met, but you know, Trudeau has that thing hanging around his neck. He voted for Bill C-51, for heaven's sakes. Yeah. He's got an albatross around his neck, and that's too bad, because I think he would have made a great prime minister. Not as great as his father was, obviously, but I think he would have been a good prime minister. I'm still ambivalent about who to vote for. I will vote, but I'm not going out to work for any particular campaign, because Stephen Colbert, you know, the guy that just retired from The Daily Show, he said it best. He said, all these politicians live in a different world. He says they're all salesmen and they don't know that. So they're not going to tell you the truth. They're going to tell you what you think you want to hear so that you will buy the product they're selling. And, you know, that to me, Jon Stewart is the guy. You know, I think he was brilliant. And so what politicians are given the opportunity to tell you, look in a camera and go, yeah, I'm looking after you. Don't worry, I'm looking after you. Your interests are at my heart. Baloney. I mean, it's votes and numbers and votes, and I despair, even though I like Perry Bellegarde. Aboriginal people have no influence in Indian politics unless they vote as a bloc, and we don't. You know, we have 5 or 6 different Aboriginal parties among those people who vote. So basically what we're doing is wasting it, and I'm afraid that we're going to have a minority government, you know, because Elizabeth May and Mulcair and Trudeau will split the opposition to Harper, and Harper will get it with a minority government, probably then supported by, you know, I would hope that there are more Green candidates getting elected. But I mean, we're looking at a situation where Harper's got another 4 years.
So what do you think the stumbling blocks are for us as we as Aboriginal people are trying to cast our votes, Gary?
I think it has to do with our status cards. Our status cards aren't honored at the voting polls, and I find that kind of disturbing, because a status card, you can work from here to through the United States, but it's not recognized by our government to actually at the voting polls. And
the same government,
that's just
the same
wrong.
government that
that's
issued
just
them,
wrong, however you want to look
and
at
made
it.
it very difficult to obtain them.
That's right.
Yeah, no, I was not aware of that. I have a status card and a passport, but I mean, I also have other proof of my identification. So I don't have a problem going to the polls and proving who I am. The problem, of course, is what about all the other people, whether they're Indian or otherwise, in communities across this country, who may not even have a birth certificate, may not have an identification.
Don't even have a home.
It's reminiscent to me of the Deep South in the early 60s, where they deliberately started voter registration to deny people the right to vote, and it was aimed directly at the blacks. It wasn't down there for the Mexicans or the immigrants. It was aimed at the blacks because they knew if you allow the blacks to vote, they're going to vote you out of office, which they have done in most of the southern states. It to me is a scary kind of Machiavellian manipulation, which really has no place in a society that purports to be free.
One last word.
Well, I was going to vote for myself, but then I'm not running for anything. I think that people should get out and vote, and more importantly, I think people should evaluate candidates on the basis of their qualifications and proven record, and what would they do for the constituency. Because as one who's worked in Ottawa, I can tell you, nothing happens in Ottawa. Nothing good originates in Ottawa. It all starts in the community and is built up from individuals doing things for themselves.
All right, thank you very much. You've been watching Access TV with me, Gunargie O'Sullivan, and Bill Wilson and Gary Olver.
So apparently they've updated the Elections Canada website because of public pressure to include the Indian status card, but only if it has a barcode. So check with Elections Canada before you go and vote.
And don't let that be a barrier. Apparently nothing ever happens in Ottawa. We can change that. Come on, people, step up. Gunargie recently crossed the Salish Sea to do a live broadcast from the Comox Band Hall as part of the Women's Media Camp that she participated in on Denman Island. And you can hear it, if you missed it, on Co-op Radio at mixcloud.com. And it's called Walking with Our Sisters. It's honoring the missing and murdered women. Keep up the good work, Gunargie.
And you're back with me, Gunargie, at Access Television. You know, recently I had an opportunity to go to Comox, to the Comox Band Hall for a memorial installation called Walking with Our Sisters. It was a beautiful memorial in honor of our missing and murdered women. I went there with a Denman women's media camp, and we were able to do a 2-hour live broadcast, which you can find on the website. But the thing that I love the most about it is that the installation involved moccasin tops, and they brought us on a journey that you will never forget. And if you ever have an opportunity to bring Walking with Our Sisters to your community, you just have to go to their website, www.walkingwithoursisters.com, for more information. This is the first time Walking with Our Sisters has ever come to British Columbia, and maybe the last. So if you have an opportunity to bring this installation to British Columbia, you should check it out. You can do your own fundraising and have them there, and they're just a hop, skip, and a jump away. They will be in Ottawa on September 25th to October the 16th, and Akwesasne in the Mohawk Territory on November 6th to the 26th. You can check out Walking with Our Sisters if you're in any of those territories, or you can bring them to your territory yourself by checking out www.walkingwithoursisters.com.
If you live in the city of Vancouver, you may have some of the softest water in the world. In fact, Vancouver water is so soft, we only need to use 1/4 of the amount of detergent recommended on the package. This usually means we use a teaspoon or a tablespoon. That should be plenty if you live in Vancouver.
The downtown east side is located on unceded Coast Salish territory. It's actually Canada's largest Aboriginal urban reserve. And there's a group called Vancouver Moving Theatre that has been collaborating since 1983 with artists and residents, and they bring together community and theatre. Stephen Lytton is here to speak with Terry Hunter of Vancouver Moving Theatre.
Hi, my name is Stephen Lytton. I'm with Community Access Television, and I'm speaking with speaking with Terry Hunter, who is the Executive Director of Vancouver Moving Theatre. Tell me about Vancouver Moving Theatre and some of the highlights this year, Terry.
Vancouver Moving Theatre is a downtown Eastside based interdisciplinary theatre company. We're especially known for the work that we do with the residents and organizations in the downtown Eastside. And upcoming events include a series that we're going to be doing in Pigeon Park between September and October. And then we have the Heart of the City Festival in late October and early November. We have Bah Humbug coming up at Christmas time, which is our retelling of the Charles Dickens Christmas Carol, which you're in. And we've also just published our new book, From the Heart of a City, Community Engaged Productions from the Vancouver's Downtown East Side. So that's kind of what we're doing. It keeps us out of trouble.
And what else is going on in the park?
Right now there's the street markets in the park, Steve, every Sunday. So there's a transition. The street market is moving off of Carroll Street up to Oppenheimer Park on Powell Street there. It's got a new permanent location. And so the city has contracted Vancouver Moving Theatre to do programming on Sundays in Pigeon Park, right at the corner of Carroll and Hastings. And so we'll be doing about 4 or 5 hours of workshops and performances there in the park every Sunday between August 23rd and November the 1st.
And how long have you been in the city with Vancouver Moving Theatre?
Savannah and I, my partner and I, we've been living in the downtown east side since the mid-1970s. And we started a dance company called Terminal City Dance with Karen Jameson. In 1983, Terminal City Dance exploded, and it became the Vancouver Dance Centre, Karen Jameson Dance, and Vancouver Moving Theatre. So our organization, Vancouver Moving Theatre, has been running now for 32 years, since 1983. Yeah.
And if people want to get in touch with you, how do they contact you?
They can visit our website, vancouvermovingtheatre.com. We also have the Heart of the City Festival.com, or they can email me at vancouvermovingtheatre@shaw.ca.
Are you the Heart of the City?
No, I'm not the Heart of the City Festival. I'm not the Heart of the... You are, Steve. You're the Heart of the City.
Thank you. Can you tell us more about the book?
Oh, yeah.
And how did that come about?
Yeah. So we've had the pleasure, Savannah and Vancouver Moving Theatre had the pleasure and the honor to be able to work with residents and the organizations in the downtown east side since 2003, when we put on a big community play called From the Heart of a City, the Downtown East Side Community Play. And it was a huge success, and you were a member of that cast. We had 80 people from the community in the show. Did 8 shows, they all sold out, all got standing ovations. And so it really created a big ripple effect. And over the last 12 years, there's been quite a number of productions that have been created in the downtown east side that have to do with the history and the stories and the people of the downtown east side. So our company, Vancouver Moving Theatre, has produced about 5 shows. The Carnegie produced an opera called the Carnegie Opera. Jay Hamburger and Theatre on the Raw has done a couple of shows. Delana Gale Bone has done a show. So this book, From the Heart of a City, profiles those, I think it's 10 community engaged theatre and music productions that have been created in the downtown east side in the last 12 years. It's quite an extraordinary body of work that's been created in this community.
Is there anything else that you would like to share?
For me, it's just a real pleasure and an honor to be able to work with our community, and I'm looking forward to doing more with our community.
Very quickly, what about the initiative you have with Pigeon Park?
Yeah, that's a new one for me. Pigeon Park is, it's a whole nother world there at that park. There's street people living there at the park, so it's a real learning experience for me to go in to be in that space. and to do it in a way that doesn't displace anybody from that space. We're really trying to do really low impact activity in the space that is really integrating and becomes another element of what's going on in the space there. So it's a great opportunity for me and other artists from the community that we're bringing down to be in that space. Yeah.
Once again, can you give us your contact if you want people to get involved in?
Sure.
How do they contact you?
Through the heart of the through our email address, vancouvermovingtheatre@shaw.ca.
Okay, thank you very much, Terry,
Thanks, brother.
for coming in.
Yeah.
My name is Stephen Lytton with Community Access TV. Thank you very much.
Nice job. Yeah.
The Heart of the City is the most amazing festival in Vancouver. For more information, you can go to vancouvermovingtheatre.com.
Now let's talk about fabric softeners. On top-load washing machines, they may have a piece in the agitator, right in the middle here, a little cup, and you can put your fabric softeners in there. I don't usually suggest fabric softeners because they go in the final rinse. What rinses them away? We don't want those left in our clothes while we wear them. For myself, I like to use lavender oil. You can start out by using a very small bottle, and that way you don't have to buy too much, and you can test it out to see whether it's something you do like. Once you do like it, I find it's a lot cheaper to buy it in a very large bottle. Then, what I'll do is, I'll put a small amount in the bottom of this bottle and fill it up the rest of the way with water. Because the oil and water don't mix together very well, give it a shake before you use it. Then all you have to do is pour in a small amount like that. For front-load washers, you can put it in the little drawer in the fabric softener dispenser. You'd put in 5 or 6 drops. That's why these bottles are handy, because they have a dropper hole so that you can portion control and put in 5 or 6 drops. With every load, it helps to keep mold and mildew down. It tends to burn off in the dryer so you won't walk around smelling like lavender.
Dr. Pargat Singh Burji is a pediatrician and a neonatologist. He was the first MD to go to Haiti after the earthquake. He is trained at UBC, and he has some sound perspective on health and relates it to music and meditation. Here he is with Sherry Dougal. Let's pay attention.
Hello, this is Sherry Dougal. Welcome to my health segment on Access Television. Today, I'm very excited to introduce a medical doctor, Dr. Pargat Singh Burji, who will talk to us about the different approaches he uses in his practices, alternative-wise. But first, I'd like you to introduce yourself, Dr. Burji, to the audience.
My name is Dr. Pargat Singh Burji. I'm MDFR CPC. That means I'm a specialist, and I'm a specialist for pediatrics, children, and premature babies, like neonatology. I've trained in University of British Columbia, and I reside and practice in Surrey. As you mentioned, like I'm a medical doctor trained in allopathic medication,
yes,
but I like to incorporate different modalities so that we can enhance treatment plus healing. So that's very, very important and key, and is very essential to my little patients and their family too.
And do talk to us about those alternative approaches. What kind of techniques do you use? Because I thought this would be a good transition segment to other techniques in terms of healing and self-awareness.
Yes. See, traditionally with the allopathic medication, there is like history taking, physical examination, lab, diagnostic, and mostly you write medication. Now, a lot of time, medication is one approach, but many times it's not the only approach. And many times if we incorporate meditation, one can be kind of delayed in the medication approach, especially for a child who is going through emotional issues, ADHD, obsessive compulsive disorder, parent-child interaction, and things like that. Because as a human body, we are approximately 50 trillion cells, and they amalgamate, work in cohesive manner. So we know how to work in a cohesive manner. The population outside on the earth is only 7.23 billion.
Yes.
So we need to make them aware. This is called mindful meditation, so that bringing them to a newer form of awareness.
And so meditation is one of the techniques you use. How do we meditate?
I mean, the question is very, very complex. How do we meditate? I always say we cannot do meditation.
Because it's so easy to be negative.
Yes.
And I know meditation is a way to incorporate positivity into your life, but it's so overwhelming with all the stimuli that we receive.
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, I told you I use meditation, but I will reverse my statement. We cannot do meditation. We can just be meditative. It's a process. Just like now you can see the rose blossoming because of the weather, but in December, the same bushes will never have the rose. So the weather has to be conducive, the soil has to be perfect. Forget about one, many roses will come. So a lot of patience, lots of positivity, a lot of groundwork, contentment, satisfaction, and trying to know who we are. So basically accepting ourselves. So these are the groundwork, and then the meditation blossoms within.
Like a rose.
Like a rose.
That's a really beautiful image, because there's always death and there's always birth happening. So in order to incorporate that into the healing journey, we can't be happy all the time. That's one thing that we also need to be aware of. Now, meditation is one technique. You also mentioned sound.
Yes.
And vibrational energy. Please talk to us about that.
Sound is very, very important, because as we look the creation of the universe by Big Bang or a noise, and if you look at all the major religion, the Christianity talks about this in terms of Logos. Islam talks the same name as Kun, K-U-H-N. Hinduism talks as Om, A-U-M, and I being a Sikh, in my faith it's Oankar. So the sound has no name, but we gave name to talk with each other. What are we talking about? So sound is integral because it created everything, and each and every cell, there is a new postulation of string theory, S-T-R-I-N-G, that at a subatomic level, like subproton, subneutron, there are strings and they're in vibration. So if their vibration coincides the vibration from outside with positive sound.
The internal balancing the external.
That's right. So then it's the constant state of satisfaction, contentment, happiness, and we create what we call a neutral state, where too much of positivity, too much of negativity doesn't bother us. It's in a state of balanced living, where the body, mind, and soul in a rhythmic dance, actually.
I love that. I think that's a good way to approach relationships too.
Absolutely.
Not to let anything affect you, whatever the person says, positive or negative.
Absolutely.
So how can we incorporate this sound or vibrational therapy into one's own life? We hear about it, people talk about it, but how can we use it in a practical way, just for the viewer and the audience?
It's very, very easy, like the 7 sounds, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa. It is derived from nature, and so is the Western do, re, mi. So there are musical instruments, like the wind instrument, the metal instrument, the leather instrument like drums or tabla, T-A-B-L-A, and just like the Buddhist chimes, the metal things, they do it together. Like in Sikh temple, you will always see there is a harmonium, there is a tabla, so
Yes.
there is always, and a lot of this is the sound, actually is the shabad or the sound which is being delivered, and it does affect the human psyche, the human thoughts, and brings us to a positive area. So singing, playing, and listening, any one of them is helpful.
That is excellent. So opening yourself up to sound, to playing different instruments is an excellent way in the healing journey, and we can definitely talk more about that in our next segment. And yes, that is fantastic. I really wanted to thank you for coming by the studio, and it was an amazing experience chatting with you. You're so full of knowledge. I met Dr. Burji through Darpan magazine when I interviewed him, and hopefully I'll be able to bring him again sometime to talk more about vibration and meditation and how they interconnect. Thank you very much. This is Sherry Dougal, and looking forward to the next health segment for Access Television.
Next, we go to a report from AHA Media about the downtown Eastside Street Market move.
Saturday, August 1st, 2015, the downtown Eastside Street Market opens at 501 Powell Street. People are waiting to get in.
Street Market at 501 Powell Street, guys. We're now officially open at 501 Powell Street, past 10 o'clock. We have a whole bunch of vendors that came from Pigeon Park. I'm really happy. I think a little later in the day we'll attract the crowds from Powell Street Festival. Should be great.
I am Marcel Musso. I'm a vendor. I'm also an artist. The benefits to this market is there's more room, more space, hopefully more people, more exposure. I need more exposure for my artwork. Awesome.
So we've run at Pigeon Park for the past 5 years, over 269 consecutive Sundays in a row, and the city bought this location for us. This is going to be Saturday. Pigeon Park will still be Sunday for a while longer until we move permanently to this spot. It's going to be our own lot. We don't have to close down the streets. We don't have to get a park permit. We can do what we want here. So this is a permanent location for the street market for the low-income people of the downtown east side.
As you can see, this is my merchandise on my table. We sell, everything for the summer: shades, necklace, bracelets, rings, any type of things, or watches for ladies, men's, kids, the same thing, for shades and everything. So we have something, for all type of taste. So everybody is welcome, Who's spoken to you? Raul Abolero, Colombian guy.
I like the new location for the market because at least it's clean. It's also a nice area for it. It'd be great, to have lots of people come by and everything and see us. And I like the policeman presence there.
We want to try and get to know the community of the vicinity and become a family and get to know each other and get to know our neighbors. And once they get to know us, they'll know what we're all about.
So we live here forever. Okay, take care.
Great, thank you. So why not check out the downtown East Side Street Market? It's open every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at 501 Powell Street. It will also be at Pigeon Park for a limited time every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Then it will move to 501 Powell Street. For more information, check out dtesstmkt.blogspot.ca.
Let's talk about dryer sheets. I don't really like them because they go in and tumble around with your clothes before they get washed again. So, is that going to be absorbed into our material? I think so. Instead of using dryer sheets, what we can do is use the same method that people who make fabrics use. They will use dryer balls, although these rubber and plastic kind, they have little pieces that come off and they can get stuck in your machine. Then I got to come visit. So instead, use some wool dryer balls. They're really nice and firm, and they tend to be a little quieter than these rubber ones. Another trick is to not run the dryer as long. Maybe you use less dry rather than more dry if you're using auto dry, or you could run a time dry for a shorter cycle. Then maybe the clothes won't get so baked and crispy, and you may not need anything to soften the material.
And that's it for the show, Molly. This is Imtiaz Popat.
And I'm Molly Caron, and I'm going to check out that downtown East Side Market at 501 Powell. It's there every Saturday from 10 till 4. And we're leaving you with a song called Stephen Harper Hates Me. And it's by Kathy Cook, an elder in our community. And she put the song out there and then got a list of comments and worked them in and improved the song. Let's give it a listen. On behalf of all the cast and crew at Access TV, we look forward to talking to you again next month. Thank you for your attention.
It's going to be a long election.
I'm a First Nations woman with no way to get clean water, just trying to survive and take care of my daughter. My little sister's dead, she was murdered in BC, so I won't don't Stephen Harper call an inquiry? I don't know what I did to him, but Stephen Harper sure hates me. I'm an oil-slimed duck on a tar sands pond, wondering what we're gonna do when the whole natural world is gone. I'm a climate change researcher who no longer has a job. We peacefully protest and we're treated like a mob. I don't know what I did to him, but Stephen Harper sure hates me. I'm a seasonal worker, just trying to feed my kids. With his cuts to unemployment, we'll soon be on the skids. My old man went out west to try to bring home some bread. Oil's well-known boom and bust just crashed. Now that job is dead. I don't know what I did to him, but Stephen Harper sure hates me. I did to him, but I know Stephen Harper sure hates me. I'm a tired Canadian veteran contemplating suicide. I did everything they asked of me. With all my heart I tried, but now I got no legs, no pension and no pay. And it hurts to see him bow his head on our Remembrance Day. I don't know what I did to him, but Stephen Harper sure hates me. Maybe it's 'cause I'm poor, but Stephen Harper sure hates me. Maybe because I'm idle no more, Stephen Harper sure hates me. I don't know what he did to you, but maybe Stephen Harper hates you.